Hello and good morning and Happy New Year from the Capitol. I want to thank you all for being here today. We know that Californians are more vulnerable than ever to digital exploitation. Our mobile devices have become inseparable from our daily lives. They're always on, they're always tracking, and these devices provide an astonishingly accurate ability to track and analyze every aspect of our private lives. Additionally, as artificial intelligence-powered surveillance technologies become more widespread, it's nearly impossible for a consumer to be able to protect themselves from being tracked. Such a wealth of information is being created daily, and there's an enormous financial incentive for any business to be able to monetize this data that they collect, and there's little or no ramifications if it is eventually used to harm or exploit the consumer or on the back end. Now, this has led to the creation of an entire industry of data brokers who buy, aggregate, and sell massive amounts of consumer data to the highest bidder. Now, the unrestricted sharing of some of this data would provide a valuable tool potentially for any abusers or criminals to be able to prey on vulnerable populations. In extreme cases, we could see that this could provide abusers who obtain the sensitive information of their victims to be able to track, harass, or commit violence against them. And even if survivors escape their abusers, they have to live in fear of their data being used to be able to track them down. So this fear of exposure would cause a chilling effect, making it less likely for them to seek legal advice or other services that can prove life-saving. Last year, this fear became a reality in California as the Immigration and Customs Enforcement carried out coordinated raids in the city of Los Angeles, detaining dozens and spreading fear throughout our immigrant communities. Digital surveillance tactics, including geofencing and location tracking, and commercially were used to be able to create profiles, track and arrest dozens, and stoke fear in immigrant communities across the country. These tactics circumvent court oversight and local privacy laws by using personal data quietly harvested from everyday apps. Advocates warn that instead of warrants, agents are able to rely on the purchase data to be able to monitor anyone's whereabouts, especially at sensitive locations. In the past 5 years, the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, has filed multiple complaints against large, major location data brokers exposing how they collect and be able to sell and use billions of data points which map people's lives in disturbing detail. Now, this kind of surveillance doesn't just violate privacy. It puts real lives at risk. It opens the doors to stigma, discrimination, and even violence against some of the most vulnerable among us. And that's today why I'm introducing AB 1542, which makes it clear that our personal sensitive data is not for sale. AB 1542 will close a dangerous loophole in current law which allows companies to sell the most intimate details of a person's life, including their immigration status, religious expression, sexual orientation, or their health, or their genetic information. These categories are, of course, extremely personal, and if it's mishandled, it can pose real and, in some cases, life-threatening consequences. So our new bill builds on work from last year I introduced in AB 322, which would put restrictions on the use and sale of specifically geolocation data, and AB 1337, which would update California's decades-old public state agency privacy law to ensure that all Californians can enjoy a constitutional right to privacy. Today, I am very excited to be able to stand here with our sponsors at Consumer Reports, Cited, Oakland Privacy, Asian Americans Advancing Justice Southern California, and the Electric Frontier Foundation to recommit ourselves to these goals and to send a clear message that data privacy must remain a priority for this legislature. Now, when basic baseline privacy rights are provided, people are more likely to seek services, engage in community events, and reach out for help when they're struggling. This past year, we saw an unprecedented attack on our most vulnerable communities on a scale not seen for decades, especially against our immigration and minority community members, the LGBTQ community, and individuals seeking legal health services such as reproductive health or gender-affirming health care. So now, more than ever, it is imperative that California takes a lot of bold action to be able to reaffirm our constitutional right to privacy and protect for all our communities. I specifically want to thank our Assembly Majority Leader, Cecilia Aguirre-Curry, for joining me here this morning and being a champion and a partner in this fight. And I'd like to welcome up some of our other speakers from these organizations I had mentioned. I'm going to let them self-introduce, but we are going to go in this order. First, we have Justin Brookman, the Director of Tech Policy with Consumer Reports, followed by Lon Lee, the Policy Advocates for Asian Americans Advancing Justice Southern California, followed by Rin Al-Aljaji, the Associate Director of State Affairs for the Electronic Frontier Foundation, Next, Tracy Rosenberg, the Executive Director of Oakland Privacy, and finally, John Bennett, the Initiative Director for Cited. Please welcome Justin.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for being here. Good morning. I'm Justin Brookman from Consumer Reports. I'm here today on behalf of Consumer Reports to support Assemblymember Ward's legislation on sensitive data and especially on geolocation data. Consumer Reports has long fought for stronger privacy protections in California. The California Consumer Privacy Act, passed in 2018, was vitally important and groundbreaking, but it still has too many loopholes. It still relies too much on people having to find ways to opt out of things happening to their data. Each year since it was passed, the California legislature has come back and found ways to improve on CCPA. In 2026, it's going to be no different. AB 1542 would ban companies from selling sensitive data about us to data brokers and big tech companies. This is information about our health, our religious beliefs, our sexual identity, the contents of our communications. Geolocation data is especially sensitive. Last year, we co-sponsored AB 322 to require companies that use geolocation data to only use it for the specific purpose it was shared for. So if you're using an app to get turn-by-turn navigation, that's fine. That's great. It should work that way. The company shouldn't be looking for other ways to try to find ways to monetize that data. And increasingly, companies are looking for ways to use this information to try to manipulate us or to take advantage of us. Last month, Consumer Reports published a study into Instacart showing that they were able to charge different consumers different prices for the same exact product at the same exact time. Instacart says they've now stopped this practice, but lots and lots of other companies are looking to find ways to do the same thing. These companies have more and more data about us. They have more and more sophisticated technology, such as AI, to target us. We've already seen companies using geolocation data to try to target us to find out what we're willing to pay. At the end of the day, this sensitive information really isn't these data brokers' business. It's our data, and there should be reasonable rules on what they can do with it. And for that reason, we strongly support Assemblymember Ward's legislation. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions afterward. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Lang Lei, and every year our organization, AJ SoCal, serves more than 15,000 organizations and individuals every year, including immigrants and survivors of domestic violence and human trafficking. For our clients, data privacy is more than just a technical issue. It is a deeply personal one because it is about their safety, dignity, and their ability to navigate the world without fear. Yet today, a person's location history can be sold easily, and with just a couple of clicks, the most intimate parts of their lives, like their sexual orientation, their medical history, and even their immigration status, can be sold and exposed, making them vulnerable to violence, discrimination, and deportation. Every day, our organization sees firsthand how inadequate data privacy safeguards harms the most vulnerable in our community. For example, our healthcare access team has seen enrollment drop by 50%. This is not due to lack of need. The need for healthcare is still there, but unfortunately, now fear outweighs it. Constant headlines about major data breaches have convinced many that existing privacy laws can't protect their families or them, and that fear is powerful enough to drive people away from essential services and care. That same fear prevents survivors from filing protection orders, seeking medical treatment, and finding safe shelter. This is why strengthening data privacy matters, because the right to privacy shouldn't disappear the moment someone turns on their phone. And in a moment of crisis, no survivor should ever have to choose between getting help or staying hidden. As both an advocate and a survivor, I want the ability to control my own information, to protect my own safety, and to use technology without feeling exposed. Strengthening data privacy is so critical because it allows vulnerable individuals to reach out, to seek help, and to rebuild their lives on their own terms. And that is why I thank Assemblymember Ward and his incredible team for their leadership on this issue. And next, I would like to introduce Rin Alajaji, the Associate Director of State Affairs for the Electronic Frontier Foundation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. My name is Rin Alajaji, and I'm the Associate Director for State Affairs at the Electronic Frontier Foundation. We're a 35-year-old nonprofit with over 30,000 members, many of whom live right here in California. Our mission is to protect digital rights, including privacy in the digital age. EFF is a proud co-sponsor of Assembly Bill 1337, the IPA Reform Act, and I want to begin by thanking Assemblymember Ward for his leadership in championing this important legislation. Your efforts are crucial in ensuring that privacy protections keep pace with the rapid expansion of data collection at the local level. The Information Practices Act, or the IPA, was a trailblazing act when it was passed in 1977, a time when government surveillance was a key concern after the Watergate era. It established important safeguards for how state agencies manage personal information. But the world has changed dramatically since then. Data collection is now happening at the local level, with vast amounts of personal data being gathered at county and city agencies with no statewide standards for how this information is processed. It is high time for the IPA to meet today's challenges. Privacy is the foundation of trust in government, and it's more important than ever to ensure that Californians' personal information is protected from misuse. Whether it's health records, immigration status, food assistant data, or even simply school enrollment info, people need to feel confident that their government is safeguarding their privacy. AB 1337 is a vital step toward restoring that and maintaining that trust. We cannot wait any longer for stronger protections. AB 1337 isn't just good policy, it's a necessary update to ensure that California leads the way in privacy protections for all its residents. Thank you. Next, I'd love to introduce Tracy Rosenberg, Executive Director for Unveils.
Hello and good morning. My name is Tracy Rosenberg. I'm the Advocacy Director at Oakland Privacy. We are a statewide coalition that advocates for safeguards and guardrails in the interests of privacy protections, civil rights, and community consent. This privacy bill trio of AB 1337, AB 322, and AB 1542 attacks our current dystopia in some really vital ways. AB 1337 aligns California's public sector with its nation-leading privacy laws for the private sector by modernizing the definition of personal information and making sure that all government agencies follow the same set of rules no matter what level of government they're at, be it local or regional. AB 322 adds transparency, disclosure, and retention limits when businesses collect precise location data that can track people's movements. AB 1542 treats sensitive information like what it is, sensitive. All three bills target invasive fishing expeditions that expose Californians to government overreach and industry profiteering for doing simple things like shopping and accessing necessary services from their government. All three bills put together ensure that California's 1974 constitutional right to privacy is not just words on a paper, but are actionable rights that people can exercise today. Thank you, and I'd like to introduce John Bennett, who is the Initiatives Director at Cited California.
Good morning. My name is John Bennett, and I'm the director of CITED, the California Initiative for Technology and Democracy, a project of Common Cause California. In today's digital world, we are constantly being monitored, and our data is constantly being harvested, from the websites we visit to the places we visit in the physical world. Whether we are at a protest, a doctor's office, a place of worship, or a polling place, that data, often collected without our knowledge or our consent, can be sold, shared, or hacked, revealing intimate details about our lives. Protecting sensitive personal information, especially location data, is about more than privacy. It's about protecting our democracy. Last year, the FTC finalized an order against data broker Mobile Walla for using precise geolocation to infer sensitive political and religious characteristics. According to the order, Mobile Walla created geofences around polling places and state capitals and even placed retroactive geofences around political rallies and protests to identify attendees, often tracking phones at night to determine where people actually lived. To be clear, with a very few amount of data points, your identity can be found and your habits can be tracked. We saw how dangerous this could become last year when ICE purchased a tool that is daily updated with the geolocation of hundreds of millions of people. This data can be used to track people for draconian immigration enforcement that circumvents California law and our Fourth Amendment right. We can no longer sit by and rely on the goodwill of private corporations to act in the public interest regarding our sensitive personal information. Privacy and freedom of movement are cornerstones of a healthy democracy. When people fear retribution for where they go, they are less likely to attend protests, hearings, or even enter a polling place. That fear chills democratic participation, and we can not allow it to continue. We must ensure that our digital footprint is not used as a tool of oppression. Cited is proud to co-sponsor AB 322 and AB 1542 in support of AB 1337. We thank Assemblymember Ward for his leadership on this issue, as well as his moral clarity in this field. It is time to strengthen our privacy laws and fulfill the promise of California's constitutional right to privacy. Our democracy depends on our freedom to move, assemble, and petition without surveillance and without fear. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank all of our advocates from these frontline organizations for being here this morning and their continued work in this space. As you heard, just kind of summarize, we have AB 1542, which went into print last night. That's going to work on this really critical information that at the end of the day, we are protecting your information. You are able to go about and use these innovations in your daily lives, I think, as free as we want. But that shouldn't come of a compromise to something that you're completely unaware of, that is going to be able to compromise your interests in your own privacy and your own consumer interests. So I'm happy to take any questions that we might have from members of the media, and certainly we have a long road ahead of us as the legislative year is just kicking off.
Thanks.
Yep.
Assemblymember Ward, how's it going?
It's good.
Wondering, after last year, AB 322 didn't make it to a floor vote. The bill before that didn't make it to a floor vote in the Assembly. What's going to be different about this year's bill that will get it over the finish line?
So AB 322 needs a little more work. It is on pause. It is currently over in the Senate, and we want to make sure that we're working with a couple more stakeholders to make some technical improvements that will make it implement correctly and potentially remove some more opposition. So that's still very much alive, and that would focus on the geolocation data and the selling of your information there. We have AB 1337 that is in Senate Judiciary. It's awaiting a reconsideration vote. We also expect that that's going to be able to move forward, but we do have more work to do with stakeholders there too. Specifically with local governments, special districts, public hospitals, and the like. We also are working now on this bill, AB 1542. So it's very interesting to be a member of the Privacy and Consumer Protection Committee, but with all of our advocates to be working on these really important questions, because I was talking with constituents over the fall about how the year goes and how the year went and how what we're looking forward to. I'm privileged to be working in this space, and I want to do a lot more of it because the issues are right here in front of us. In fact, some things have already happened. But it's tricky because you don't want to let go, certainly, of your liberties and your freedoms and just your average feelings and rights that you have as an American, and you don't even realize some of these things are happening to you, and that's where our job is to really see the bigger picture and make sure that those rights are preserved. So we got to get back at the table. We've got to make sure that all three of these bills have a course forward, and I believe that they do.
Why keep AB 322 around if it seems like, just reading through the background around 1542, it seems like it'd be captured in this bill, so why still keep that around? Why still keep working on that?
Subset of the same issue, tackled in a slightly different way. But look, I want to have multiple vehicles going forward because if any one of them gets tripped up, I don't want the issue to die all year long.
So remember, do you hope this bill sends a message to the Trump administration?
I hope all of our work here in California sends a message to the Trump administration, but more importantly, that it sends a message to Californians, that we see clearly what is right and what is wrong, and that we are going to stand up for the right issues and be able to protect them.
Seeing that the categories that you've listed as being blocked for selling or sharing seem like categories that businesses might rely on for targeted advertising, political campaigns, potentially for voter outreach, businesses and banks for loan assessments, and are you worried that those might negatively impact businesses' ability to do listings?
As all bills, when they're introduced, I look forward to working with our retailers, our bankers, and with all industry sectors as well to make sure that we can continue to be able to have positive consumer benefits and make sure that this has not tripped up some of the things that people also come to be able to enjoy in their lives.
Do you have a sense of the cost yet? Just know that this is probably going to be a tight budget year for the state.
Very, very unknown. Yeah. Great. Well, if there's no further questions, then we're certainly available for one-on-ones. I want to thank you all for attending here this morning, and we'll conclude our press conference. Great. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, let's get it done.